In today's session, we'll be preparing to present to a funder in order to get sponsorship for our sessions. We'll be focusing on how to prepare our crafts so that they are easily understandable and readable. Again, we will then discuss what a funder is likely to want to hear from your presentation. Let's get on it. So this is the craft that we created in the last episode. It shows the number of females and males that have registered for the sessions. So as we prepare our presentation to a funder, we need to try and make sure that our crafts are very simple and understood. So there are things that we need to either add or remove. So let's talk about what things need to be added on this craft. Firstly, what is missing in this craft? If you're looking at here, we only have total. So at this point, the funder wouldn't really understand what this craft is telling him or her. So what is needed firstly would be the title. So a title is useful in that it explains what the craft is about. So when the funder sees, they already have an idea of, okay, what is this telling them. Another thing is data labels. So in as much as we have the y-axis here, which kind of shows us the numbering, however we can't really see how many females and how many males. All we can do is probably just try and see, it's between 20 and 25, but we don't exactly know the exact number. And so that's what we'll do and fix this for now. So let's get on it. So we'll firstly start with the title. So right here where it says total, you'll just double click on that, and then you'll see a cursor there. You would delete that and just type in your title. So like I said, this is the number of people who have registered. So our title, we'll just keep it simple for now and improve it as we go. So for now, let's just say it will be session registrations. Okay, yeah, so that is session registrations, and then you'll just click anywhere else. So the other thing we talked about is the data labels. So in order to include the data labels, you click on your craft, and then you go to design. So in design, you have options here of add chart elements. So you click on that, and here you can see there are a lot of different chart elements that you can include in your chart. So, but for now we are looking at data labels. As you can see here, it says none. So we'll just click on, maybe if you wanted it to be at the center, it will go to the center. So you click center, and if you want it to go inside, and that is like inside but on the top, then that is where it will go. So this is how you can change your data labels according to where you want them to be. Most people prefer them to be like outside, so let's just keep them outside for now. So this is what we can do to add the things that are missing. So next we'll talk about what are the things that we can remove that are not necessary in this craft. So right now we're going to be discussing what things we need to remove that are not necessary in this craft. So before you start removing things, you need to consider how important those particular items are on your craft. So just ask yourself, if I'm removing a particular thing, is it going to make a difference, or is going to change the narrative of the message that you're trying to portray with your craft? So this is different depending on the different crafts, because if you include, like we included maybe data labels here, but in some other crafts data labels might make your craft a bit messy, and you may want to remove them. So this also depends on the type of craft that you have. So let's just see which things are not necessary in this craft so that we can remove them, and this will help to focus the eyes of the funder. So firstly, we'll be removing the y-axis. So because we have included our data labels here, it's easier to read now, so we don't necessarily need the y-axis, because the data labels are enough to let us know what exactly we are looking at, and how many females and males have registered for the sessions. And then the next one would be a legend. So in this instance, a legend is not really necessary, because we already know that we're looking at male and females. But in some instances, especially when you are disaggregating or compositions, comparison, those type of crafts, you need a legend so that you are able to see the different disaggregations within your crafts. But in this instance, we don't necessarily need the legend, because it's not adding any value to our craft, so we will remove it. The next one will be the creed lines. So the creed lines are these lines here, which at times can be destructive to the eye. These are useful when you have kept the y-axis maybe in a line craft, and the creed lines would help so that the eye can actually see where the crafts are. However, in this instance, we don't necessarily need them, so they're not adding any value to our craft, so we'll remove them. So next we'll see how we can remove all these 3 items in order for us to improve our craft. So right now we're going to remove unnecessary clutter in our craft. So you'll click on the craft, and it's already in design, so you go again to add chart element. So our first thing was to remove the axis here. So you go here and you choose the option for axis, and as you can see, we have the primary horizontal, which is the x-axis, and the primary vertical, which is the y-axis. So we want to remove the primary vertical one, so you'll click on that, and then it will remove. And the next one is to remove the legend. So you still go to the same thing, you come here again and go to where it says legend. As you can see, you have options here of either moving your legend to the top, if that's what you want to do. So it will go to the top, it will go to the left if you wanted to go to the left. If you wanted to go to the bottom, it will come to the bottom. However, we decided that we don't need the legend, so we'll just remove it. And then the next one is removing the creed lines. So we go to the creed lines, and then we will the creed lines, we'll go here, and then it says let's primary, major, and all these things. So we'll just click on that one, and now we have like a craft that is, I would say, a bit more cleaner than what we previously had. So these are the steps that you can follow in order to remove certain clutter that is not really necessary, and that is not going to change the interpretation of your craft. So if you can look at this craft and the things that we have removed, the craft still has meaning. It still shows us the same thing that it did show us before. So removing those things only improved and enhanced the understanding of our audience, which is now like the funder. I feel like they will be able to clearly see and maybe interrogate the craft a bit more, because we've made it easier for it to read. And in as much as we have tried to improve our craft, there are things that make a good craft to be great, and that is firstly using our words wisely, using color sparingly, and making sure that the audience actually has a key takeaway from the craft that they are looking at. So the title could be better. A title could be something that actually helps the reader to have a takeaway from what they're seeing. So something, a type of an example of a title could be, because we can see that okay, there are more males than females that have registered for this session, we could make that as the title of our craft. And we could be so reading it like, okay, more males than females have shown interest in the sessions. It kind of gives somebody the idea that maybe more males are interested in this type of content, if this type of trainings, that it could bring on the question that okay, why aren't females interested in this, those type of things. And it's a good title that can make people somebody ask more questions, or even try to find like the meaning behind that. Another thing would be just to improve on the title in itself. You could bold it, and using color sparingly. Like we only have one color now, so it might be useful to change the color so that when the eye looks at the background, they kind of distinguish between which are the males and which are the females. So we could just here, just click on the bar. So if you, let me just do this. So if you click on them at once, it will highlight them both. As you can see, both of them have this mark, but you need to highlight the one that you want to change. So you just click on it again, so this one will be unhighlighted and it will only like highlight this one. So you'll just go here on, there's a color fill here, it's like a bucket. You click on that arrow and then maybe just change the color. So changing that color, it kind of helps the eyes to distinguish, okay, if I'm seeing green, I'm seeing females. If I'm seeing red, then I'm seeing males. The other thing would be then using this color even in the title to say, okay, let me highlight this so that somebody knows that I'm trying to you're trying to stress a point here. So you'll go to the A here, it's the font color, so you click on that arrow and use the same one here, and then you can do the same for the females. So here, and then change that. And maybe at times I think that might be a bit messy, so sometimes people want to maybe, let's say, change the font size to make it bigger so that it's easier to read. So now you can see it's made the males to be a bit bigger, so that here you can see that you're stressing the point of, okay, the males are more than the females. And even the font of the color here, you can change that, and even the sizing. I think it might look better if we put them within, maybe inside end, and then we can, let's see, lighten them and increase probably the size, and then pull them up. So even with the males and the females here, you could pull them up, increase the thing, and then just choose the black color. In here, let's just choose the black color. Then you can, I guess you'll just have to go back again and do the same for the females. So yes, this is so this is just how you can I guess improve an already good craft and make it a great craft. So next we'll be talking about some of the things that we may need to include in the presentation to try and beef up our presentation in order to get the funder to actually fund our initiative. So right now we're going to be talking about how you can attract funding through your presentation. So we'll touch on some of the things that you can include in your presentation to make sure that a funder actually understand what your presentation is about. So firstly, we're going to talk about using your words wisely. So remember, like with funders, they want to be able to know that their funding is being used in a way that is growing impact, is supporting initiatives, is improving communities. They also want to know that their money is an investment, and they're not just using it they're not just throwing it away. So having those type of keywords within your presentation, it can actually help the funder understand that, okay, you are trying to do something good with the work that you're trying to do. Secondly, you want to show that you have also done some work. So this means including additional data. So we were focusing on just creating that bar graph, showing the male and the female registrations. However, if you saw in the previous episode, we actually touched on a lot of graphs that we created, a lot of data that we analyzed. So you can include additional data like that in order to support and beef up your presentation. This will show the funder that you've actually done some research, you've actually done some work, and they're not just starting in the beginning. So they will be encouraged to support your work, because they see that there is actually work that you have done, and they can actually see it visually, and that will encourage them to maybe pay more attention to what you're trying to do. Another one is telling a story. Telling a story could be through the words that you, like I was explaining, using your words wisely, and even your data in itself can tell a story. But it's also about trying to get to the heart of the funder, to reach them deep enough where they get motivated and they are touched by your presentation enough that they'd want to talk with you more, and perhaps in the end fund you. Another one is making sure that your presentation can stand alone without you presenting or having to explain some of the aspects. I think this is helpful if maybe you are in a situation where you only have a few minutes to talk with a funder, so then you can leave them with like a pamphlet, or you can maybe sometimes you're emailing your presentation. In those type of situations, you won't be able to be there to explain some of the things, and so your presentation is to have enough information that is clear enough for somebody reading it to understand what you are trying to portray within your presentation. In that way, they are not left confused, and if they do reach out to you, it will probably mean maybe you need to explain a few other things that they may have found interesting. Another one is including a key takeaway or an action plan. This would include so the funder reads your presentation, sees your presentation, or maybe you're presenting in person. What do you want them to do after you've presented that? Like what's the key takeaway? Obviously now they know that you want money, you want them to fund your initiative, but like I'm saying, it needs to be clear that this is what you want them to do after seeing, after hearing, and after reading your presentation. So next will be looking at an example of a presentation that can be sent through to a funder and what it actually includes. So here we have a title, which it's a title that's already explaining what this is about, what the presentation is about. It also includes data, because here you can see we have more than 50 individuals, so it kind of shows the funder that you've done some work. And like I was explaining, including keywords such as investing, it encourages the funder to realize that they are actually not just throwing away their money. And I know when we were discussing how we could improve our craft, we did talk about like a craft having needing a title, but there are some instances where it doesn't really need a title. For instance, with this bar craft here, we didn't include a title because the information is already available in this title. So this title, it accounts for both the map and the craft. So this gives your reader it helps them to visually see what you are actually trying to say without including too much information. And the use of white space, it allows for the eyes to breathe a bit. And we've also included an example here of highlighting, because here we're talking about the females, and we've used the same color that we're using here with the females, so then the eyes remember that when I see green, then that is female. So you're talking about female, so the eyes will rove about looking for the green, of which they'll find it here and realize that okay, these people are talking about females. And it's always important to include that, because most funders, they want to know that they are supporting females. There are not a lot of initiatives that are trying to support females out there. And even with this craft here, it doesn't have, so the title is here or on top. We didn't include it as part of the craft because the title, we've used titles here as statements also, because sometimes those read well as action statements. Here you want the funder to actually realize that they're not starting in the beginning. There's money that has been raised, and that they will be supporting a program or initiative that is already doing some work. So this encourages them to see that you're going to be using your funding well, if they do give you the funding. And on on the bottom here we've included something that we could say is a key takeaway. So we have explained that, okay, we offered some discounts because we do believe in this initiative, and so this funding will help us close that gap that the discount actually brought on. So this means that they can see what you are going to do with the funding. So this is just an example. It's not it's not something that you can use every day. You just have to adapt a few things, but it was just showing some of the aspects that you can include in your presentation if you ever present to a funder. And so yes, this is actually the end of our episode for today. And today's episode was actually the last episode of season 1. And having said that, I just wanted to thank everybody who has been watching the episodes and who have been following along. I hope that through the season you have learned some basic Excel skills that will help you get by in your work, school, wherever you may use it. So season 2 will be coming a bit later, but for those who haven't really watched some of the episodes, maybe now could be a good time to go back and learn some basic Excel skills that we'll be using as we go along in season 2. So yes, have yourself a lovely day, and we'll see you when we see you.